If anyone told Lee Goyo that she would be spending her night getting intimate in a car, she wouldn't have believed it. Still, her relationship with this man had no love since the beginning. It was just her being selfish keeping this man around while holding on to the hope that she would like him someday. Because of that hope, and because he was willing to be hers, she gave him her body. It's all going to make sense in the coming weeks, but for now, let's rewind to the present where it all started, the day she meets this man. She is standing in front of the Hanyung resort under the snow, thinking about how she was sent here to get some guy named Jung-yeon. He is with a woman, and his father sent her to the hot spring bath to bring him back. She just wants to do as she is told, as always, making her way through the blistering cold to get to the resort. In the resort, Jung-yeon and the woman are being intimate, until he accidentally calls Goyo's name and pisses off his lover. Annoyed, she slaps him, demanding to know who Goyo is. He promises her she is his one and only, and Goyo is just someone his family raised. She decides to let his mistake slide for now, but warns him not to say her name again. Since the topic of faithfulness is now in the air, he seeks to confirm if she isn't seeing anyone else but him. She claims she isn't, assuring him that there is only one him. But that's a lie. Because as soon as she makes that bold declaration, someone storms into the room complaining about a contract of over $1 billion being blown. He had wondered what the two of them were doing at a time like this, and was angry to see that they were getting intimate. Jung-yeon doesn't know who this guy is, but his lady does, and that shocks him. She calls the intruder Kwon Jaeheon and stammers out that she has made a mistake. Before Jung-yeon knows what's going on, he is pulled out of the bath by the hair. Still, he doesn't go quietly and warns them that treating him like this will only earn them the wrath of his father. Jaehyun isn't bothered by his threats, calmly smoking as he ignores him and tells the lady he is waiting for her. Since she knows the amount of trouble she is in, she starts to beg, pleading that she was wrong, while Jung-yeon starts to panic, reminding her that she said she wasn't seeing anyone else. Their begging doesn't bother Jaehyun, as all he wants is revenge, which he gets by taking out his rage on an unfortunate Jung-yeon. He just strikes him repeatedly, to the point that he asks why it's just him suffering this pain when he catches two of them. To end his pain, he confesses that he didn't know she was seeing someone else, but that's not enough to get him off the hook. In fact, it annoys Jaehyun the more. He is pissed that Jung-yeon didn't know about him and didn't check, and claims all cheaters have the same excuse. What he doesn't know is that Goyo is there watching from a corner, too scared to say a thing. She knows this is an incident she can't handle and trembles because it looks like this time Jung-yeon didn't play with an ordinary woman. He played with someone who rolls with a gangster that's so pissed he ignores that woman's plea. Unfortunately for her, he spots her, just as his victim is begging for mercy. Soon his henchmen spot her and he approaches her, leaving her bewildered about what to do next. In the end, the best idea she comes up with is going on her knees to beg, but at first she is too scared to do that. She just apologizes for his misconduct and begs for mercy. He then replies that he has been hurt deeply and needs compensation, and she goes on her knees, claiming she is ready to do anything. She knows she has to fix this somehow, because if she doesn't, his parents will take out their frustration on her, and she doesn't want that. He can see she is desperate and asks if she'll go as far as satisfying him to save her brother. Suddenly, he pauses, realizing he has seen her somewhere, as memories of his younger self flash before him. He is lost in thought until she asks him to explain his request. She has managed to bring him back to reality, but before he can say anything, they are interrupted by Jung-yeon, who wants to know how she knows this guy and what they are talking about. She doesn't understand why he can't read the room, and fortunately for him, Jaehyun gets a call he has to take and goes on to answer it. He is annoyed by the caller's impatience and tells him he is busy now. Turns out he was sent by the lady, director Min's father, to come get her and end Jaehyun's life. Upon hearing her father on the phone, she starts to beg, pleading for forgiveness and claiming she did what she did because she was drunk. All he has to say to her is that he'll deliver her to her father and he will decide what to do with her. He then tries to tell her father he would like to stick around a bit because he met a pretty girl, but he wants them both in Seoul immediately. Since he has to obey, he dismisses Goyo. Meanwhile, an attention-hungry Jung-yeon keeps demanding that she stop ignoring him. In the end, she gets him off the hook, yet he remains ungrateful, whining even more as she wears him her coat. He continues when she helps him out of the room, accusing her of finding his situation funny. As if his attitude isn't bad enough, he suddenly gets serious, accusing Goyo of looking at him strangely. According to Jung-yeon, it's a look of despair, and she is his pet, who needs to protect him. Hearing this upsets her, but he continues, adding that she should be thankful to him. Still, she ignores him, letting him pester her while Jaehyun watches them leave. Surely they'll be seeing each other soon, but for now, let's move to an auction by 7 p.m. at Taihan Hotel's charity event hall. It's a busy night at the event hall, and the guests are busy chatting about various things until Jaehyun arrives. Turns out he is KJ's finance president, and this is his first time gracing an event like this. At the moment, he is the elephant in the room, with his looks and the purpose for his visit being the main topic of discussion now. One of the guests even addresses him as a gangster that has gone up the ladder, before she is shunned. Fortunately for her, he doesn't hear her. The next thing we know is that there is another important person in the room, the executive director of Seongjo Ilbo, Park Jung-hoon, and Chairman Han's son is also in the room. There are too many big fish at this event. This means things are about to get interesting, and they do, when some lady pushes through the crowd to get to Jaehyun. Looks like she is his date to the event because she apologizes for coming late, claiming that her schedule ended a little late. He forgives her, coldly suggesting they move to where they agreed to spend the night, but she doesn't go quietly. Instead, she complains about how it's been a long he saw her and she expects a little anticipation from him. Still, he seems a bit distracted, leaving her to wonder what his attention is on. In no time, she discovers he is staring at another woman and she's none other than Goyo. She looks so down, like she was forced to attend the event. Meanwhile, Jaehyun's love interest scales her. She then concludes that from her makeup to her dress, she looks like a pro. So she considers the possibility of Goyo being an aspiring celebrity. Suddenly, she looks up and their eyes meet, earning her a rude stare from the lady, before she tells Jaehyun it's time to go and leads him away. They leave before she can identify them and the auction gets underway. They start with bids for a rare necklace, starting at 250 million and the bids start coming. While this happens, Jaehyun is getting busy with his love interest, not caring about what other people will think. Goyo is among these other people, thinking about how in the darkness people get entangled with desire. She knows she has to throw herself into the darkness of desire to lure Jaehyun because her caretaker ordered her to prove her worth by getting him on their side. She doesn't know how to attract him yet, but for now, she has to worry about getting his love interest away from his side and replacing her. That woman is the actress Ji Seo-yoon, and she is still thinking about how to dethrone her when someone asks if she is interested in what they are doing. It's executive director Park Jung-hoon, and he is happy he has her attention. However, she recognizes him, but can't recall where she knows him from. He confesses he doesn't know why everyone is so interested in Jaehyun, and she claims it's because he is expensive. He is so expensive that her caretaker, Congressman Lee Uitaek, wants to join forces with him. Yet she tells Jung-hoon that it's no big deal, when she doubts she can afford him with a body like hers. The executive director can see that she is conflicted, so he snatches the opportunity and places himself on the table, suggesting that she go out with him if getting Jaehyun isn't feasible. To add to that, he claims to be interested in her, adding that if she came to the auction, she must know the other things that are up for grabs here. How persistence finally pays off, as she finally recognizes him as the executive director of Seongjo News. Just then, he suggests she leave with him, and she remembers that Congressman Lee had told her that if she couldn't get Jaehyun, she should go after Jung-hoon. He is a substitute since she is cornered and might decide to go with him, just so she can avoid being blamed for her failures. He doesn't know this and believes she sees him as weird for suggesting they leave together. To ensure he doesn't see him as strange, he assures her that even though he asked that they leave, he isn't a strange person. To his surprise, she agrees, informing him that he didn't even need to introduce himself before she recognized him. She had seen him at his wedding and found out about his divorce a few hours ago. She then tells him that, although he doesn't remember, she was a guest from the bride's family, and just then, someone gets the necklace for $1 billion. Eventually, the auction ends and guests start to leave, when Goyo is spotted leaving the building with Jung-hoon. As expected, people start talking, wondering who the man behind the executive director is, and it's soon revealed that she is the congressman's stepdaughter. This revelation causes more noise as they wonder why a man who just got divorced is going out with his ex-wife's cousin. In the end, they blame Goyo, declaring that she is proof that you should never raise a black-haired traitor who doesn't know its roots. She knew people would talk initially and that there was no stopping the rumors from spreading now. Jung-hoon, who also hears the comments, assures Goyo that he didn't think falling in love at first sight would end this way for him. He claims he would never treat his lover lightheartedly, but that's not her problem. All she cares about is that things went the way her stepfather, Congressman Lee, predicted they would. Nevertheless, he didn't predict that Jaehyun would actually walk up to her, like he is doing now from out of the blue. He just ignores Jung-hoon and declares that he has seen a different side of Goyo, and he doesn't know what he is talking about. Confused, he asks him what he is doing, but then he remembers she owes him a moment of intimacy and asks for it. His request catches her off guard, and she knows people would probably call her the rare snake that took her cousin's ex-husband and also seduced the most beautiful man in Korea. She knows she'll get the scarlet letter engraved on her name, a public mark that comes as a result of serious adultery, but their comments mean nothing to her. What matters to her is her stepfather's remarks, and the old man wants her to succeed in this mission at all cost. He has already written Yoongyun off, leaving just her to impress him. That's why she agrees to get intimate with Jaeheon. Her response leaves the actress Seo-hyun baffled, wanting to know if she heard right, but then he replies that they should head upstairs and get a room. This only pisses Seo-hyun off the more, pushing her to throw a tantrum about how she cleared her entire schedule to come here because of him. He just tells her that he doesn't like getting intimate with multiple people since it gets too tight, and then they leave. On their way, she wonders why he left Seo-hyun for her. Regardless, it's an opportunity she has gotten here, and if she doesn't catch Jaehyun's interest now, she knows she won't be getting it next time. She is determined to get his attention at all cost, following him until they get to the room. Upon getting there, he jokes that if someone saw them now, they would think he dragged her here by force. He perceives she is reluctant and offers her a chance to walk out now, since it's not too late for that. Surprisingly, Seo-hyun isn't mad at him. In fact, she sends him a text, informing him that she is waiting for him in the parking lot. He then tells Goyo this, to show her that he has another option aside from her. Well, she can't tell if he'd call the actress if she goes or not and is confused about what to do next. She had followed him up when he was in a good mood. Now she doesn't know what to do or how to seduce a man like him. Since she still looks frightened, he wants to know if she'd like Seo-hyun to join them. Apparently that's not her thing. So he asks again if she is going to stay or go. After giving it a lot of thought, she confesses that a night with her will be boring as she is nothing like the actress. She then pushes his hand away and tells him that Congressman Lee asked her to make a good impression on him, and this wouldn't get her that good impression. In other words, she is leaving. She knows that if she straight up does what he wants, it'll just be another one-night stand. Something a man like him is no stranger to. So now she has given him the option of catching her or throwing her out. Whatever his choice is, he will never forget her. At first, it looks like he is about to kick her out. But then he tells her he is the one to make the choices here and pulls her to himself. Curious, he asks her if she is scared of him, when she's the one who provoked him and she claims not to know what he is talking about. Suddenly, he complains about how he doesn't like sharing and doesn't want her thinking about someone else. It's because of Yoongyun's constant DMs that seem to annoy him to the point that he asks her to focus on him, and just like that, they get intimate. While they are at it, Yoongyun, who is annoyed she has been ignoring him, still texts her while he has a lady with him in his hospital bed. The lady gets curious about who he is texting and tells him he isn't allowed to use his phone at the hospital. However, she'll cut him some slack. Seo-hyun, on the other hand, decides she is tired of waiting and drops a message for Jaehyun before she leaves. In the text, she tells him to call her when he is free and plans to send her schedule for January with him, just in case. Just as she is done, her driver advises that they leave immediately, and she listens to him, getting into the car, not knowing that someone is watching her from the shadows. That person is Jung-hoon, and he looks like he wants revenge for being left out to dry. Looks like things are going to get interesting from here on out, yet Jaehyun and Goyo have no idea of the building tensions. At the moment, he is even taking a smoke break, staring out the window when his attention catches the KJ building. It's an organization he is part of, and it achieved its current position with the use of illegal acts, intimidation, and violence, when they could have used negotiation. Most people on the outside see it as an entrepreneurship as they paint it to be, but deep down, it's a kingdom founded by the loan shark with the most money in South Korea, Kwon Jaeheon. Be it businessmen, politicians, or anyone looking to go up in South Korea and more, his assistance is key for them to grow. He is a powerful man, and Congressman Lee is one of the few people with power as much as his. Unfortunately, his son caused a scandal, and now he is using his stepdaughter, Goyo, to straighten his relationship with the KJ group. He knew this before he gave her a shot, going against his rule of not touching things he didn't want. He didn't want her, added to the fact that she was the congressman's doll, but still, he joined the auction of men who wanted her. There's Jung-hoon, the man who would go after any woman who looks at him, and Yoongyun, her weird brother. Being a part of this weird competition makes him feel weird, but he has her for now, so he decides to have her some more. Eventually, she falls asleep and wakes up confused, wondering when she slept off. Suddenly, her attention goes to the clock and she is surprised to see that it's 11 o'clock on the 25th of December. It's almost Christmas afternoon, when she came here on the 24th night, and all she could remember was eating and getting intimate. Now all Goyo wants to do is leave this place. It looks empty, and she is fine with that, since she gets to leave without seeing his face. She then walks over to her things and is shocked to see she has 99 missed calls from Jungyeon. Along with the missed calls is an array of messages, showing that he is offended and curious about where she is, although some of the messages look like threats. Goyo knows that immediately she leaves the hotel she will run into him, so she calls him now, to get it over with. As expected, the spoiled brat picks up immediately, demanding to know where she was, before accusing her of purposely not picking his calls. He wants her to say something, but she doesn't, staying silent because she has gone temporarily deaf. She's been through enough already. However, what she doesn't know is that the room isn't empty. She gets to know it isn't when Jaehyun comments about how Jungyeon loves to whine. She is shocked to see him, prompting him to ask if she is surprised he is still here. He then claims he is hurt and reveals to her that he has been watching her since she came out of the bedroom. According to him, he is not a man without presence, and watched silently because he hoped she wouldn't answer her phone while he was away. Concerning Jungyeon, he warns her that she will regret it if she goes to him without his permission. I bet he doesn't know that she isn't going because she wants to, but because she has to. Next thing she knows, Jaehyun is feeling needy again, informing her that they'll continue getting intimate after she rests a bit, before wearing her a necklace. Yes, it's the same necklace that was up for grabs at the auction, the one that was worth 1 billion won. Scared, she argues that she can't take the necklace, asserting that it isn't hers. Still, he refuses to take it back, advising her to throw it away if she doesn't like it. After all, that much money is nothing to him. Wow, after spending only one night with him, he gives her a gift this expensive. But isn't it weird that she hopes he's put a lot of meaning into it? Well, after hours of getting down and dirty, she can finally rest. Even though she feels like her body is a disgrace, she is glad she didn't get to think about what they did. Still, now that he is fast asleep, she gets to check her phone, scanning through her texts from Jungyeon. He keeps talking till she drifts off, toying with her coffee while she concludes that this man talks a lot. When he gets to the part where he claims meeting Goyo felt like love at first sight, she knows that's not the end of the endless talking. She just sits there, recalling that Congressman Lee asked her to be stricter with him, not loose as she was with Jaehyun. She now wonders if that means Jung-hoon is not the final bidder, but he notices she isn't listening to him and tries to get her attention. When he does, she apologizes, claiming she was thinking deeply about something else, so he asks if his talk is too old-fashioned. He suspects he overdid it and made the age gap obvious, but she assures him it's all good. Apparently, he asked because he was shocked that last time she called him old, making her wonder what exactly she said last time. That night hoped they'd head to the auction's after-party and was sad when she left the way she did. Now she is also shocked, because she knows he saw her go up with Jaehyun to the guest room and now he is acting clueless. At least the conversation is interesting for a bit, before he notices he has been doing all the talking. He also wants to know if she'd like to talk about something else other than his life story, but she confesses she has never had a conversation this long before. Now he can see she is trying to get him to shut up, so he decides to ask about her ability to drink. Specifically, if she likes to drink or is unable to drink. Shockingly, she confesses that she cannot drink yet because she was a minor until last year. The news hits Jung-hoon hard, as he could tell she was young but didn't think she was this young. Still, it's not a problem, but he feels old now. Concerned, he asks if she had a good day or the day she attained adulthood, and she reveals she did. Suddenly, Jung-hoon asks if she had a good day with Jaehyun. She confesses that she did. Plus, he didn't harass her, treated her well, and was more attentive than usual. That's all news to him, making him ask if they are talking about the same person. The man he knew personally is not the man she described. Nevertheless, he kicks that aside and moves to a more serious topic, his feelings for her. He reassures her that when he said he fell for her at first sight, he wasn't lying, and he has never seen someone as beautiful as her in his life. That's where they disagree. She doesn't feel she is that beautiful, but instead of making her feel that way, he takes a risk and asks if she has mixed feelings about him. He suspects she is since she didn't feel offended by him calling her beautiful. However, she does feel down, even though she knows his words were not a discriminatory statement. We can all blame it on her growing up without caring what he thinks. That's a lot. But Jung-hoon can't even tell she isn't happy. He starts talking about how he doesn't have an issue with mixed-race people like her because his grandmother was American. He's reverted to the boring, excessive talking when Jaehyun walks in on them, reminding Goyo that he told her not to listen to anyone. He also points out that her manners have gotten worse, so bad that she ignores his calls. The boldness of this man, referring to himself as Oppa before Jung-hoon, leaves him speechless for now, allowing the pair to discuss like he isn't there. Curious, Goyo wants to know why he is here. He can't believe that's all she wants to know, and replies that nowhere is off limits for him. It doesn't take him long to notice how nice her outfit is and ask what she is doing here, looking so lovely. She can't respond, prompting him to stress, calling her names that offend Jung-hoon more and more. Eventually, he snaps, but one glare from Jaehyun humbles him immediately, pushing him back to his silence, while Jaehyun, again, asks Goyo why she didn't answer his calls. Fortunately for her, she immediately comes up with the excuse that she didn't pick up because she doesn't answer calls from unknown numbers. However, he doesn't buy her excuse. He had put a note for her to pick up her calls before he left. Goyo remains unfazed, standing by her excuse that he never gave her his number, before changing the topic to his assault on Jungyeon. She informs him that Congressman Lee was angry at him because he beat up his son, and that's why he told her to meet Jung-hoon. Another detail about their conversation that shocks Jung-hoon, who has now become a spectator, watching all this drama unfold. Meanwhile, Jaehyun seems astonished to hear she didn't come here by her own will. For that, he tells her he thinks she is kind and she can't throw him away, instead it'll be him throwing her away. She was terrified that he broke her screen because of something so trivial. Then he coldly asked if she was going to leave. Obviously, she wanted to, since she could handle the cold, but that made Jaehyun ask if she was afraid of her stepbrother or him. It was a rhetorical question, plus he knew that she was human, so she must have been feeling annoyed by the abnormal messages he sent her. He advised her not to ignore the feeling, pushing her to confess that she was angry as well. She remembered a time when she threatened Jungyeon with a knife, warning him to stay away from her. All he did was casually walk over to her, take the knife, and tell her she couldn't kill him. He confessed he was a crazy guy and he could resort to self-harm, which scared her back then. Even while she was with a scarier person, that memory haunted her, a memory Jaehyun had no idea of. However, because he broke her phone screen, he offered to buy her a new phone and change her number. She saw nothing wrong with that. That aside, he could tell she knew something she was keeping from him. Was it his son's weakness? Or that someone owes him money? Or the fact that her biological was a murderer? Hearing that took her back to the interrogation room, where the congressman accused her father of trying to kill his son. He also told her that her father was a bad person, and if it was known that she was his child, she would also be seen as a bad person. That gave her goosebumps, and she confessed that every time he said something to her, he made her nervous. He claimed he hadn't said anything, put out his cigarette and lit a new one, and made a deal with her. He offered to help her with her adopted family if she'd be his. In the past, she had sworn she'd never hold anyone's hand again. She felt like she wasn't able to trust anyone, probably because she had been living a tightly locked-up life. Nevertheless, his offer was sweet. Too sweet that even if it was a poisonous apple, she wanted to take a bite out of it. This part of him she was seeing was not who she thought he was, so she asked him if he had always been so kind. She wondered if he was like this to all the women he spent nights with, leaving him marveled. He could immediately tell he had lived a difficult life because she saw him as kind. Well, Goyo believed there was no kindness without reason. Hearing this made Jaehyun hug her, knowing the type of mind games they used on her. He tried to tell her he was different, but she wanted him to promise her that he would stop Jungyeon. He promised he would, assuring her that he would kill him if necessary. That was enough to reassure her, but as she stood there in his arms, she felt comfortable. He then told her that he hated it when she ignored him and played with him, and she and Jung-hoon had been taking turns to drive him nuts recently. Well, she knew how it felt to be played with, like Jungyeon normally did to her when they were younger. He treated her like some pet, and no one stopped him from treating her that way. She was still in his arms when they agreed he'd set out time and have a serious conversation with Jungyeon. He offered to tell her what he'd say, but she wasn't too interested in hearing what he had to say. However, he let her know he wasn't planning to talk with him, since words never got to Jungyeon. Once they agreed on a way forward, they were overwhelmed with emotions that led to them getting intimate. Fast forward to the present, Goyo is clearly under Jaehyun's care now. I mean, you can tell that much from the gown she is wearing and her security detail. Money isn't a problem for him, and we can see he got her the new phone he promised. At the moment, they are texting about their day. He arrived at his meeting venue, and she arrived at either his place or a hotel he told her to go to. Their texting gets interrupted when a woman serves her tea to welcome her. Suddenly, she is experiencing a life she has no issues with. Turns out she is not at his place, or a hotel, but at a top-tier beauty shop. A place so classy that only 1% of the people in South Korea get into it. She is even marveling at the expensive dress she is wearing now. 1 hour ago, she just arrived at this place. In no time, she saw a lot of jewelry and asked what all of them were for. One of the workers came with an answer for her, informing her that in addition to the products Jaehyun ordered, they had new stock. It's then Goyo realized he had also ordered a personal shopper service, and he permitted her to choose what she wanted for herself. Well, she claimed she didn't know how to, so he permitted her to try on whatever she felt she wanted and then decide whether she was keeping it or not. She ended up trying out loads of outfits, and Jaehyun was so impressed that he decided to buy all the clothes because he thought they all fit her. Goyo then asked him to calm down. As they left the place with Goyo dressed so spot on, she suspected today was special and asked for the date. It was then he told her about the banquet in the evening that they couldn't skip. While in the car, as they drove off, Goyo felt peace. This was the most peaceful she had felt for the first time in 10 years. Initially, she thought he was a scary person, but the respect and consideration he gives her is one she has never received before, and that makes her heart pound. She keeps wanting to trust him, but she learned from experience that there is nothing more idiotic than trusting humans. Eventually, he came down to a place that looked like a Congressman Lee support group building, allowing Goyo to head off on her own. Fast forward to the present where they are doing their cute texting. Someone points out that Jaehyun looks busy. That person is Congressman Lee, who is visibly upset with him and admonishes him to keep his promise next time. He replies that he can't take up more of his time when he is busy. But all the congressman wants to know is when he plans to return his daughter, now that he has seen his face. Jaehyun finds the request funny, declaring that if someone came now, they would think he kidnapped this man's daughter, and the congressman sees it that way. Jaehyun then argues that it was he who planted his daughter in his hotel room. But he reminds the younger man that he had told him to be more truthful, pointing out that he entered that same hotel room while holding his daughter's hand. Jaehyun suddenly changes the topic to how he felt hurt that after him, Congressman Lee threw his daughter at Jung-hoon. However, he explains that he only permitted them to meet because Jung-hoon wanted to have a meal with Goyo. To show he is now serious, Jaehyun puts down his coffee, admitting he didn't think he would be interested in someone as simple as Jung-hoon. Nevertheless, he wants the congressman to say what he wants to say, because he looks like he has a whole lot bottled in. At the beauty shop, Goyo notices the guards are preventing someone from coming to her. The lady who is getting blocked challenges them, questioning them on their lack of knowledge of who she is. That person is Jung-hoon's sister, and she can't stand seeing that woman. She recalls how she woman-handled her brother, pulling him away while promising to take care of disciplining him. For some reason, it looks like she really wants to have a word with Goyo, and even after she introduces herself as the CEO of Suengjo News Park Seowa, they still refuse to let her through. One of Goyo's guards apologizes, but he still can't let her through. It turns out CEO Park Seowa doesn't like the idea of bodyguards lining up in a row against her. It makes her feel like she is being watched, prompting her to ask them to leave. Since they refuse to leave, she calls Jaehyun, and for some reason they are scared. She then cuts the call and tells them to leave, as they will not get a second chance. What they don't know is that he is at a meeting, and Congressman Lee feels insulted that Jaehyun picked a call while they were talking. When she cut the call, it pisses him off, but that move has Seowa access to Goyo. While the ladies enjoy hot coffee, the bodyguards wait outside in the blistering cold, shivering. Seowa is glad Goyo likes the coffee when she notices the expensive necklace she has on her. She suspects the necklace is from the Devil's Temptation set, and she replies that Jaehyun gave it to her. She remembers her brother trying to get the same necklace and finds it funny that he lost to Jaehyun in the end. From his mind act of getting her that necklace, she can tell he loves Goyo. Now, her brother was the type to give gifts to girls, but that's not the type of person Jaehyun is, meaning he really likes this one. From their little talk, she concludes that Seowa has known Jaehyun for a long time when she hands her complimentary card. She explains that she isn't giving her the card for any serious reason, but so that she can contact her the next time Jung-hoon bothers her. According to Goyo, she might not have to use the number because there is nothing between her and Jung-hoon, but his sister knows him well and knows he will go to many lengths to get married in the Middle East. His eyes were set on stealing Jaehyun's woman, as in the woman Jung-yeon used to roll with before Jaehyun caught him and beat him up at the hot spring. Seohwa can see that she is visibly uncomfortable when she mentions her man's ex and apologizes for doing so. Goyo announces that she doesn't really have a reason to feel uncomfortable. Meanwhile, outside, the guards get tired of waiting in the cold and text Jaehyun that Goyo and Seohwa met. They inform him that the ladies are currently talking over coffee and he is upset. According to him, flies are swarming around her now that he is away, meaning he just can't take his eyes off her. Goyo, on her end, feels like calling him. From her screen, we can see that she has only two contacts, him and Seohwa. The way she sees it, he and the CEO look good together, making her jealous. Out of that jealousy, she is about changing the way she saved his name, from Appa to something else. Luckily for him, he cloned her phone, so he could see what she was up to. To stop it from happening, he gets up to go to her, leaving the congressman even more annoyed at him. He suspects Jaehyun never wanted to talk to him in the first place. On hearing this, he decides they should stop beating around the bush and get straight to the point here. He offers the old man a chance to go from congressman to his excellency. With his help, he claims the old man's chances of winning the presidential primaries are high. The congressman likes what he is hearing, knowing fully well that once he leaves his position, the older men will rush for it. He suspects that is why Jaehyun came to him with this offer, and not his father. He leaves, assuring the congressman that he will pave him a flowery path all the way to the president's office, in exchange for Goyo, and he is okay with that. In fact, he confesses he likes talking with the younger people, because they are easier to talk to. After a few minutes of leaving his meeting with the congressman, Jaehyun is with the ladies, and Seohwa isn't okay with his presence. According to her, obsessive men are not attractive. He then assures her she has nothing to worry about, because there is nothing about him that he'd obsess over. Well, that's fine with her, since boys aren't her type, she says. And it's funny the tension existing between the two. Paying no respect to Jaehyun, she advised Goyo to reconsider the relationship. For a man to be acting like this when they are just dating smells like trouble to her. Her observation catches Goyo's interest, so she keeps talking, declaring that her brother and Jaehyun are gluttonous, so she should come to her. She promises to treat her well, but her sweet talking is brought to an end when he steps in, warning Jaehyun not to misunderstand her. She explains that Goyo is like a daughter to her, so she shouldn't misunderstand her. She asks her how old she is, suspecting she is in her mid-30s. However, she is 20 years older than her, and if her first love didn't fail, she would have had a daughter her age. That's news to Goyo, but Seohwa assures her she can see her as an aunt and talk comfortably with her. She can also call her if she has any problems. Goyo is okay with that, and after their makeup session, they head to the conference room for the event he spoke about earlier at the KJ Tower. She knows they are at Jaehyun's building and watches him give the speech for the end-of-the-year party. He thanks everyone for their hard work that led to their success and notices some old man in the room that he seems to recognize. That old man is his father, Kwon Jaeheon, but she doesn't know why actress Seohyun is with him. She is clearly unhappy to see her. Moo-young surprisingly walks over to her, identifying her as the woman who is shaking up his son's heart. Seohyun is pissed because she knows that if she hadn't met Chairman Moo-young at the construction site and taken the opportunity, she won't be here, so she doesn't get what Goyo did to get Jaehyun. Maybe it's her beauty, because Jaehyun's father praises her beauty, confessing that Congressman Lee was lucky to have her by his side. Immediately, the actress senses she is about to lose to Goyo again and declares that he shouldn't be calling someone beautiful in front of her. The old man simply scolds her and silences her by making her beg for forgiveness. Both women can see where this is heading, so Goyo tries to save herself by getting Jaehyun's dad respectfully and hoping he finishes with his speech fast. Fortunately for her, the speech ends and he intervenes, warning his father that Goyo is off limits. Moo-young feels his son has a bad temper, and it looks like we are about to see a clash between father and son. Want us to continue this story? Comment part 3 below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, ciao!